In this video, we'll show you how to do the rear pads and rotors on your Subaru Baja. This is located in the rear of the vehicle and behind the wheel. Let's get started. With the vehicle raised and supported, we can remove our wheel. We'll remove the lug nuts with a 19mm. If the wheel's stuck, you can thread one of the lug nuts about halfway back on, and I'm going to use a dead blow hammer on the back of the wheel. You want to try not to strike the rim and just strike the tire. And we can remove the wheel. We have two 14mm bolts holding the caliper bracket on. I'll be using a wobble extension for this. And we can do the same up top. When you go to remove the caliper from the knuckle, it's good to have something to hold it up, whether that's a hook or a securing strap. Just keep that from falling. Using a 14mm, I'm going to remove one of our slide pin bolts. Work the caliper body off. And now you'll want to hang the caliper body up and keep that from falling. And we can remove the rotor. With our caliper bracket off to the side, we can go ahead and remove the shims. I'm going to use a flathead screwdriver to do that. Next, you want to pinch the slide pin boots as you pull them out. We'll wipe off the old grease and apply some fresh silicone paste. We'll do this to both slide pins. As you install the slide pin, you want to make sure that you remove all the air from the boot. Now we need to clean up our bracket. To do that, I'm just going to use a little bit of brake parts cleaner. And we'll wipe off any excess grease off of there. And then I'm going to use a wire brush and clean up the surfaces. We'll do the same on the other side of the bracket too. Now we can apply some anti-seize onto the bracket where our shims will sit. Line the shim up onto the bracket and press down. Now that's ready to go back on the car. If your hub is rusty and dirty, you're going to want to clean it with some brake parts cleaner, a rag, and a brush. Ours is new, so we don't need to clean this up. You always want to apply a little bit of anti-seize to the hub-centric ring. We can get our rotor onto the hub. To get the brake caliper bracket on, it's a lot easier if the rotor stays sitting against the hub. To do that, I'm just going to use an old axle nut, one of our lug nuts. You can use anything like a set of washers or a bearing for this. That'll hold the rotor on. We can get our bracket on and get our bolts started in from the back side. We can go ahead and snug these down. And we can torque these to 58 foot-pounds. When installing your brake pads, you want to make sure that your squealer bar is on the inside and faces in the way that it's going to touch the rotor when the rotor is rotating in this direction. You want it touching first. If it goes the other way, it's going to pull it away. It's not going to do its job. We can get the pads in. I like to start on one side, top or bottom, get that in, and then you can push in the other side. I'm going to apply more silicone paste to the other slide pin and start to get that in. Same as the other one, you want to pinch the boot and get all the excess air out. Now we need to compress the caliper in order to get it to fit over the pads. To do that, if you don't have a caliper compressor, an old pad, and either a big set of pliers, if you have an oil filter wrench like I have here, these work great. We can get our slide pin bolt started in. And we can torque the slide pin bolts to 28.9 foot-pounds. You want to make sure to remove the strap that you used. If you used a lug nut to hold the rotor on, remove that as well. We can get the wheel back on. And get the wheel on the hub. I'm going to install one lug nut all the way down. That'll hold our wheel on while we install the rest. Now we can snug these down. We can torque these to 80 foot-pounds in a star pattern. Now you're going to want to pump up the brake pedal before you take it for a road test to compress the caliper back to the pads. Take the vehicle for a road test and make sure you don't feel any bad vibrations or bad noises. Thanks for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.